Well, a warm welcome to today's talk, Saturday the 30th of September. Now, you'll be pleased to hear that we've finally been given a debate on excess deaths in the British Parliament. And no doubt it will be completely packed out as people are concerned and MPs are concerned about the lives of their constituents. If only that were true. You know, we're supposed to have parliamentary government in this country. We have a government and we have an opposition. So the government should be advocating for the people and the opposition should be saying, well, no, maybe you're not doing it the right way. But both of them are completely silent on this issue. It is really utterly unfathomable why they're both silent. Anyway, over to Mr. Bridgen first, and then we'll think about what he said.
Since the beginning of this year, so 9 months ago, I've been asking on a weekly basis for a debate on a really important issue that affects every constituency, in fact every community across the land, and is also affecting most of the developed world, and that issue is excess deaths. It's been clear that the government and the opposition do not wish to support my requests for this important debate. All of my requests have been unsuccessful until now, but this week I've been told by the Speaker of the House of Commons that I've got the adjournment debate on the 20th of October, and the issue we can debate is trends in excess deaths. This will give me an opportunity to speak for about 20 minutes and for a minister to have to respond. It's a Friday afternoon. I don't doubt that there won't be many people in the chamber, but it is a chance to get all the science, all the facts, all the data on the record. It needs to be the best speech I've ever given, because I'll be speaking for all those who've sadly passed before their time and for all those bereaved relatives out there who want answers. I hope you'll watch the debate on the 20th of October, and I hope you'll urge your own elected representatives to attend. Thank you very much for listening to me.
So what the heck, pray tell, is wrong with that, asking for a debate about excess deaths? Let's suppose he's completely wrong and there are no excess deaths, which we are. We're going to be given conclusive evidence in a minute. Then surely we have a parliamentary debate and people point out using reason and logic and counter data to show why he's wrong. But that doesn't happen. There's a deafening silence. It's just impossible for me to explain sitting here. Now, Andrew Bridgen's speech on the 20th of, it's the 20th of October, isn't it? I think we can assume it's going to be pretty good. I'll say no more than that, but I think we can assume that it's going to be a pretty evidence-rich speech. Let's just have a look at what happened last time.
Bridgen. Mr Deputy Speaker, on the 13th of December last year I was kindly granted an adjournment debate on the potential harms that emergency use experimental mRNA COVID-19 vaccines cause. It's fair to say that night my life changed.
It's worth looking at what actually happened that night. Let's just look at that in slow motion now. So we see Mr Speaker announcing Mr Bridgen. He gets up and then people start to leave straight away. It's like a mass walkout when Mr Bridgen starts to speak. What's going on here? MPs leaving. The minister on the front bench there on the left, they've got to stay. And these two Labour guys, I assume, on the right, sort of looking around and thinking, heck, everyone else is going, maybe we better go too. It looks like they thought about staying, but then decided, oh no, we can't be associated with this. Who knows what they thought, but anyway. There they go, they walk out until Mr Bridgen's left with a nearly empty house as everyone walks out in what I consider to be a complete disgrace to the democracy of my country. They didn't even have the civility to sit and listen to him. All those empty benches. But it does mean what he said is recorded. It is in the document called Hansard and is now part of the official record, even although no MPs were polite enough to stay and listen to him. So is Mr Bridgen just some crazy, deluded member of Parliament and the others just don't bother to listen to him, or is there evidence for what he is saying, making the silence of the others inexplicable? Well, yes, there is evidence. Let's look at some of it now. In fact, there's overwhelming evidence. This is the Office for National Statistics from my country, week ending the 15th of September, so fairly up to date. Deaths registered in the UK, 11,688, 2.9% above the 5-year average, 330 excess deaths. So good to see that it's down a little bit, but of course there are still excess deaths. And we'll be giving evidence to show that this is an international problem. I'll be using Our World in Data in a minute. That's the reference should you want to check it out. Now, we did look at information from the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD. And this was for the first 30 weeks of 2023 to show this is going on. So far in the United Kingdom, there's been 36,000 excess people died, more than we would expect. Hungary, there's been less than we would expect, 3,000 less, which is good. In the United States, the number is 147,828, and sadly, that is more than we would have expected. Poland, it's less. Australia, it's more. Canada, it's more. And the data for Canada there is by no means up to date. Netherlands, it's more. New Zealand, it's more. Sweden, it's less. And Denmark, there's an increase, and that's just for the first 30 weeks of the year. So in the United Kingdom, as of round about the end of July, 36,316 people died, more than we would expect. And you've seen the response from our elected politicians. It's just an embarrassment. Let's look at a little more data. This is the latest screenshots I've just got from the Office for National Health and Improvements. This is the increased deaths in the 0 to 24-year-old age group. And we see here that there's been a lot of increased deaths throughout 2023 and 2020 in this younger age group. So it's the 20s, 0 to 24s. Also, it's affecting the 25 to 49s. We see the excess deaths here above the line, and that's been the case for several years now, really. Certainly for 2023, 2022, 2021, there's been these excess deaths in this youngish adult age group, 25 to 49. In the 50 to 64-year-old age group, well, it's always higher, isn't it? It hasn't been low since that single week there way back in 2022. We've got excess deaths all the way through in the 50 to 64s. In the, what's this? This is the 65 to 74s. Again, excess deaths. We see them here. More deaths than we would expect. And in the 75 to 84s, again, more light coloured above the line. And in the older age group, sadly, we see the same thing. So this is affecting all age groups. It's not just a particular demographic. And we can also look at some of the causes as well. So, for example, in the United Kingdom, we see that one of the causes here is ischemic heart disease. Way above what we would expect. So the line, of course, here, that line is the 0, and anything above that is excess. So more people dying of ischemic heart disease than we would expect. This is heart failure. Way more people dying from heart failure than we would expect. Why isn't this being talked about? The minutiae of this should be taken apart in the House of Commons with a fine tooth comb. Not ignored and greeted with walkouts when someone does try to raise the issue. Heart failure. Why should more people be dying of heart failure? But they are. Now, this is the classification other respiratory disorders, and we see that way less people are dying of other respiratory disorders. And of course, COVID is a respiratory disorder, so we know that a lot of these deaths, the majority of these excess deaths, are not anything at all to do with COVID, especially since Omicron. Nothing to do, well, some have, but throughout 2022, the vast majority of these deaths are nothing to do with COVID. But there we see less deaths from respiratory disease. But when we look at, what's this? This is cirrhosis of the liver. So cirrhosis of the liver, we see a massive increase. why should there be so many more deaths through cirrhosis or scarring in the liver? So we see a lot of people dying from cardiac causes and hepatic causes, liver causes. Is this just a UK problem? No. Here's Australia. So we see that 2021, 2022, excess deaths in Australia currently around about 18% mark, way above the line. A lot of excess deaths in Australia. The about 10,000 deaths we looked at in Australia, they were only for the first 30 weeks, but now we see that this is sadly continuing in Australia. Then we look at Canada. Now, we've looked at this in the past. There are curiosities as to the way that Canadian data is gathered, but we still see that even despite that alternative approach to data gathering in Canada, we still see excess deaths, sadly, about 5% there, but it has been very much higher. It went down here quite dramatically, coincidentally, around about the time they changed the way that they collected their statistics, as far as I know. If you live in Canada and I'm confused on that, do seriously let me know. But that's my memory of the matter. But still the excess deaths there, but not as bad as they were, according to the official data in Canada. Denmark, well, sadly we see Denmark has been above the line for quite some time, and sadly now is over 10%, well over 10%, 15% in excess deaths in Denmark. Ireland, appalling situation in Ireland. That's about 27% above what we would expect for the time of year. And it's been high again throughout 2021 and 2022 in Ireland. This is Netherlands. Again, well, yes, above average in Netherlands. That's been maintained. It's almost as if there's a trend between these countries, isn't it? It's more deaths in Netherlands. More deaths in New Zealand. Now, we had hopes in New Zealand had gone down, but I'm afraid it's gone back up now to about 16% in New Zealand, having been high for, again, all of 2021 and all of 2022. So sadly, a lot of people dying in New Zealand, more than we would expect. The United Kingdom, above average, but again, not quite as bad as some other countries actually from this, but it's still high through 2021, 2022. I mean, in 2022, 2023, not really below the line at all. Most of the figures above the average line. And in the United States, well, I'm afraid we're still bobbing along about the 8% excess deaths range, having been much higher in 2021 and 2022, when we wouldn't really have expected the higher deaths in the Omicron period. So by no means restricted to the United Kingdom, but glad we're getting this debate. I suspect it's going to be another national embarrassment. Why have we not got government with opposition? Is there something going on that we don't know about here? Because it makes no sense. We've got cross-aisle agreement between the Conservatives and Labour and the Scottish Nationalists and the Liberal Democrats. They all seem to agree on their extreme apathy. If we had a meeting of the Apathetic Society in the House of Commons, I suspect no one would bother to turn up. Quite incredible, but at least Mr. Bridgen will get this documented in Hansard, and sooner or later there's going to be well, is there? I mean, it's gone on for so long now and we've heard nothing. They're getting away with it. We're letting them get away with it, I guess. Remember, the politicians work for us, we don't work for them. Only they don't work, they go home and don't listen to speeches. We'll leave it there. Thank you for watching.